Oh snap. Okay, I guess I figured this out somehow. Let's see. Let's go to the chat. Uh yeah. Here. Let me try to make another video and I'll see if we can get some chatters up in here. I didn't really come on here with the topic. It's not letting me live stream for some reason. I mean, both, on my cell phone and on the. This freaking technology. This beast technology system, I don't know. You would think I'm like that guy who's good with computers, but like it's not even. Yeah. So I figured it out somehow. Figured out how to go live. So come on over. Yeah, I'm on live right now. Okay, so I got two viewers. Uh, no one's talking though. I don't know. I ain't really come in here with any. I ain't really come in here with any like video ideas. So I don't know if I'm just gonna be able to just like do this for like hours and hours and hours without anyone saying anything. We're gonna see how this. We're gonna see how this goes. Man, I got a crappy camera. But, that's all right, man. Um, hmm. Let's see something. You know what? I was gonna do a yearbook transvestigation kind of study. Like, I don't think for some reason people haven't done that. I was gonna like kind of like do kind of transvestigations and clone investigations of like people in yearbooks and stuff like that. Got some of my old yearbooks, and I think that'd be a pretty interesting thing. But for some reason, you know, bad camera. Yeah, we'll do that some other time. do have some other books, though. I had a video on the real meaning of 666 being the mark of man. I think I got a video on that. I think I got a video on this unique verse I've seen in Second Esdras, chapter 7. Forget what verse. And basically, it would be about like whether or not real humans like died out for a given period of time and then were like reborn on the face of the earth, which is what I think maybe happened. I'll probably do a video on that. Yearbooks, 666, Second Esdras. Yeah, I think those are my next couple videos. Um, so yeah, let's see here. Well, I got 4 viewers. No one's talking. Um, hmm. NI5. Ed I fuck edifying. Oh no. Edifying. There we go. Not the world's best speller. All right, let's see some of these. White okay. Settings. Leave call. Well, I can't moderate people if no one's talking. I have 5 viewers. That's nice, but no one's talking. So, let me do an impromptu Black Panther with you. I saw the movie. I thought about doing a video on it. I should have, but I just, my channel is like freaking restricted anyway. It's suppressed anyway, so it's like, well, what's the point here? But I did take some notes, so I may as well do a little bit of a Black Panther kind of review, and I might go over it a little bit better if I do an actual video on this. But this is just some thoughts for now. So the movie starts. Oh man, my handwriting. So the movie starts, and like it goes over some of the history, and it starts off, and it's a Hollywood movie, so like it's a Hollywood movie. They meant it primarily for Black people, but at the same time, it's kind of like they told a lot of truth in it, but they also told a lot of lies. Because it's Hollywood, you're not going to get straight truth. But also, Satan's kind of slick, so you're not going to get straight lies either. So there was kind of a little bit of both. And anyway, it starts off with the whole five tribes thing. And it goes five tribes got together and they got together and like they kind of formed this nation. One of the tribes went off though, and when I heard that, it really made me think about the tribe of Dan, and I was interested that no one really mentioned that in their various breakdowns. The tribe of Dan was an Israelite tribe, pretty much went off and did like whatever, right? And the other four were, I mean, I just interpret that as being like, the 12 tribes of Israel. And then, one of them kind of went wayward, right? So, what else? Next is like a West African exhibit. And, it opens up. I probably won't do everything. I'll probably save that maybe for a video I might do. There was okay, yeah, the West African exhibit scene. You got Killmonger, and then you have, White Lady, and then you have, basically Killmonger saying, you guys got these exhibits through, colonialism and all that. They don't really belong to you anyways. So, ends up taking them, kills some of the people there. So then next scene, it opens up to, I think it's T'Challa and his main female general guard. They're kind of in his ship about to do a mission, and it's showing like, I wrote it down, it showed the armpit hair of the female guard. And I kind of think that was a kind of tip to how masculine a lot of the women were in the movie, which is is what it is. Again, it's Hollywood. So then they do their little mission. Da, 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 da. I noticed there was a lot of quote unquote reptilian symbology in the movie. And of course, reptilian is just, it's just another kind of name for the fallen. I think maybe the fallen angels were cursed to be reptilian, maybe. I don't know, but that's just another kind of thing. So the sister of the Black Panther during the ceremony that they had, that was supposed to be like, the ceremony where he would fight all comers, and if there were no comers or if he beat them all, he would then become the king. Well, anyway, in the ceremony, the missing tribe, which may be the tribe of Dan, they come out, they offer a champion. Black Panther beats him though. He spares his life. The sister of the Black Panther during that ceremony though, she had like animal jaws. She was wearing like a jaw of an animal, and I do believe it was a snake. I'm not totally sure. But if it wasn't a snake, it was maybe a crocodile or something. It was very reptile seeming. I thought that was very interesting. And then also, even his suit, um, like the designs of it, it kind of looks like scales, and so that's kind of like another homage maybe to reptilians. So that's kind of oh interesting there. Well, anyway, he wins the whole ceremony. He does his little dream sequence, and for his dream sequence, if you note on the tree, there are panthers. One of them comes up to him, and like it's his father, his deceased father. And there were five panthers, and I counted, and five panthers for the five tribes is what I would get out of that. So anyway, he does all that. He wakes back up from the little dream sequence or whatever. They go to an underground lab, and that's kind of like a I think that's probably like a thing they have, like the fallen underground labs, and I don't know how much Christ or a godly figure would have an underground lab. I mean, they don't really need underground labs because they're godly figures. They can just do whatever they want to do in the light. You know what I mean? So they had a lot of references to underground labs, and I think that's kind of a reference to the Fallen and some of the underground, bases that they have, where they do a lot of cloning, of course. Uh, this guy, this white guy, Cable, he had an accent. A lot of people maybe were having a little problems like placing it. Oh, 3 viewers. Oh my goodness. I may as well stop. This is awful. And no one's saying anything. Like if you said something, I always respond pretty much to all my commentators. I mean, if you say something, I'll probably say something back. But I mean, it's good that I at least know how to do this now. So maybe I can kind of do it a little bit more. We'll see where it goes. Cable was like he was an Afrikaner, and if you don't know what that is, a couple hundred years ago, like a lot of Dutch people, they went into like southern Africa, and their descendants were called Afrikaners, and that's pretty much what Cable. I think that's the vibe that he's trying to get. And then he talked about like Joe Town, which I guess would be South African slang for Johannesburg. It's just water, folks. Hmm. So anyway, he talks about Joburg, and that's probably South African slang for Johannesburg. Seems to me like he's an Afrikaner, which is another interesting thing, given a lot of the news people have been hearing about South Africa and various, I guess, probably racial tensions going on there, and you know Afrikaner farmers and stuff like that. So I guess it was interesting he'd be an Afrikaner. Um, 4 viewers. So anyway, so Cable thought that Eric was American, and the whole parallel between Eric Killmonger and African Americans, man, it's been done to death. Yeah, yeah, he kind of does represent the African American to some degree, but I don't really think that he represents a Hebrew Israelite because people were making that claim as well. And as far as I'm concerned, the guy really doesn't represent a real Hebrew Israelite. I mean, he has no real morals, no real standards. He doesn't really have any deep spiritual beliefs. He has no real religious practices. He's not adverse to murder, including murdering his own. And this whole belief that Killmonger was the Hebrew Israelite. People are really stretching with that because I mean, Hebrew Israelites follow God's laws, don't they? Well, I mean, they should. And Killmonger didn't really follow any laws but his own. He was his own man. So Killmonger really represents, I think, a bit of a divide between maybe the quote unquote Hebrew Israelite and the quote unquote African American. And Killmonger really represents a more secular kind of African American who maybe is smart and, what have you with that, but his struggles are purely done in a secular manner. They're not really there isn't really any kind of religious aspect of it there. There isn't any kind of spiritual aspect of it there. It's just like pure rage, and it's just like a purely secular kind of thing, a secular kind of crusade for Killmonger, as opposed to a more religious one, which is what you should be having as a Hebrew Israelite, quote unquote. So, I mean, people are saying Killmonger is the Hebrew Israelite. Well, no, he's not, because he doesn't follow any laws. He doesn't follow the laws of God. So why would he be a Hebrew Israelite? That's not. He's the spook who sat by the door. He's you know the revolutionary street thug. If that's how some people would put it, if you will. But he's not really a Hebrew Israelite the way some people like to think he is. There's a lot of reference to. I mean, there's a lot of thought that maybe the vibranium was like melanin, and that's an interesting kind of train of thought there. I think it could be true. Um, in real life, I'm not too sure what sort of benefits melanin would give a person. Um, I hear it does have some benefits, protecting one against the sun. I've even heard it has some benefits as far as making it tougher for you to be possessed, or and maybe making it more difficult for your DNA to be changed. I'm not totally sure if that's true. I'm just a man. It could be true. It could be false. There could be different benefits. There could be other benefits on top of the ones I just listed. I don't really know, and it doesn't really seem like anyone's talking. Three viewers, no one's saying anything. Um, keep going. So anyway, the quote unquote Black American, Eric Killmonger, he really had no sort of religious or spiritual connections to the land of his ancestors and what have you. He basically, when he went to the dreamscape, after he defeated the Black Panther, he instead of imagining some savannah in the middle of Africa, like the Black Panther did. What he imagined was more of an urban setting, more of an urban American setting. It was an apartment, and he was talking with his missing father, and sure, a lot of African Americans can relate to that. And also, he was a jaguar instead of a leopard. Now, leopards are old world big cats. They're only found in the old world. There are no leopards found in the new world, which is North and South America and the Caribbean islands and what have you. But Killmonger was the golden jaguar, and jaguars are a new world big cat, the only big cat in the new world because cougars, they're not actual big cats, they can't roar. But you know, the juxtaposition of Killmonger as the gold jaguar and Black Panther T'Challa as the leopard kind of represents that whole old world versus new world, divide, that whole Black Americans versus Africans kind of divide. And as far as that goes, I got another video I need to do. Not all Africans are like straight up Africans, okay, so to speak. In fact, African should really stop being used as a race because African isn't even really a race. African is just a term. Amongst Africans, there are many different groups, if you will. You have some Africans who are Hamites, okay? You have some Africans who are like Semites. Some Semites, some Semitic Africans, I think, are the true original Arabs. Who, if you even look at the British when they were talking about the original Arabs in some of their older books, the original Arabs were black. You know, I mean, the original, pretty much everyone was black. The whole thing about pale skin coming up on the face of the earth really seems to be more of a, shenanigans pulled by the fallen, But before that, it pretty much seemed like all of the original humans were black, as far as I know. And with the I think some of those Africans, quote unquote, in Africa are probably some of the original black Arabs. I think some of them are probably Edomites, okay, and some of them are Hamites. And I do think some of them are the real Hebrews. So there's a real mix of people amongst even black Africans, not even counting the North African Arabs, but really just like Berbers and Turks and Greeks, and they're not really. I don't think they're really like the true Arabs. I don't think the original Arabs would have looked like them. But even discounting those people amongst black Africans, there's a lot of diversity. So yeah, um, this whole divide between African and African American thing can get kind of stupid because a lot of Africans are not just Hamites. They're not just like that. Some of them are Hebrews, and I think even amongst African Americans, there's a bit of a divide. Maybe maybe a few Edomites may have gotten on those slave ships. Maybe a few actual black Arabs or Moors or Edomites even got on those slave ships. Okay, and in addition to that, there may have been black people already here in America. So, you have African Americans, some may be indigenous, some may be indigenous black, some may have more blood of like indigenous Asiatic Indians, some may be more descended from like, more the white slave masters side. Some may be more Hamitic. Some may be more Edomites. Some may be more Arab kind of, and some may be like Hebrews, like real, Hebrews. So even amongst African Americans, there's probably a little bit of a mix up there, and that's certainly true amongst Africans. So the whole term African should really just be done away with as a race. Like, there's no such thing as a universal African race. There just isn't. There's more genetic diversity amongst Africans, so I've read, than there is amongst anyone else. So, really the whole term African needs to be done. If you're talking about a Hamite, just say Hamite. If you're talking about a black Arab or an Edomite, just say that. If you're talking about a black Hebrew, just say it, right? Don't, this whole African term trying to make all Africans Hamites, I don't think it's correct. But anyhow, this movie kind of fostered, a lot of different kind of divides, uh, men versus women, um, new world blacks versus old world blacks, a lot of internal divides, kind of on that, Willie Lynch kind of stuff. And as far as that goes, you can argue about whether or not Willie Lynch is a real or fake, but certainly the concepts in that whole Willie Lynch kind of letter certainly are fairly true and they are used. And I think this is kind of an example of kind of that Willie Lynch programming where you have all these divisions mainly taking place amongst black people. And I'll probably do a better review of it, in an actual video for it. And, the men warriors support Killmonger, the women warriors support T'Challa, and yeah, obviously, T'Challa wins at the end of the day. Killmonger dies. Um, uh, no real surprise there. Still 3 viewers. No one said anything. All right. No real surprise there, but it is interesting that he died. And, there was that whole saying, you know, let me die for like my ancestors did, or let me be thrown in the ocean like my ancestors did, who knew it was better to die than to be a slave. And, I guess a lot of people view that as being pretty deep. Of course, if there weren't people to, go through that, I'm glad they didn't all die because they all died, we wouldn't be here. But yeah, a lot of real evil taking place in the past. But that kind of relates to a video that I'm going to be doing pretty soon about, whether or not real humans cease to be born on the face of the earth sometime after Christ. And I think it's an interesting thought. Maybe for a span of 15 or more 100 years, there weren't really real humans being born on the face of the earth. And a lot of these horrible things that we think may have happened to, this group or that group. It just may have all happened to clones. Maybe the Earth was just entirely filled with clones for a stretch of time, and then sometime in the last few generations or whatever, real humans began to be born again upon the face of the Earth. Now, I'm not saying that that's how it is or how it was. It's just a theory, and I'm basing it kind of off of a couple things. One is how when I look back at like mid to early 20th century and 19th century photographs, I am struck by how few people seem not to be trannies and to seem to be they seem not to be trannies and they seem to be like no, yeah. How few people seem to not be trannies. I mean, it's very difficult, possibly even impossible. I don't know, to see people from the olden days, like again these like 19th century photos who aren't trannies. I don't know what's going on. It's very very difficult. And in addition to all that, there's a biblical verse in Second Esdras chapter 7. You'll have to kind of look for it. I can't quite remember it off the top of my head. I think it was 20 something, where it's almost suggested that after Christ dies, like all men with life die or something. It's a very weird kind of verse. I don't know what it's quite referring to, but maybe it is referring to real humans like ceasing upon the earth for some time after the birth of Christ, and then only being reborn on the earth here in the last couple of generations. I don't know. It's a very interesting kind of verse. I'm not going to even really look it up because I'll do a video on it. But yeah, when you kind of think of, I mean, it kind of puts it in a different perspective, doesn't it? Um, Whether or not those people who were our ancestors, whether or not they were just kind of not really real humans, but just kind of, you know, tears. And then eventually some of those tears maybe gave birth to humans somehow in the last few generations. I don't know. It's a wild thought, but I'll try to be doing a video on it. Uh, and I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe if you go back 300 years ago and look around, maybe there were more tears back then than they are now. Maybe there was all tears. I don't know. It'll be an interesting conversation for sure. But anyhow, it's more or less was the end of the movie. I might do a video on Black Panther, like a better one with pictures and whatnot, but I might not. I don't know. It's kind of like my channel's suppressed anyways, so it's kind of like sometimes making videos. It's just kind of you know. I don't know how many actual real humans even watch my crap. So, well, it's not crap, but I don't know how many real humans watch. And I mean, it can get tough, man. It can get tough. It can get tough, kind of, you know, doing a live stream chat and like 3 viewers are watching and no one's saying anything. And I don't know if there's any real humans who even watch. Just it's kind of tough a little bit. You kind of like seeing, people piping up. And I mean, it would be awesome if, there were real humans doing it. But you know, even like Tears doing it. You know, talk with Tears all the time. So what's the difference there? But I mean, yeah. Um, One thing I really need to be doing, now that I've gotten my first live stream chat, one thing I really need to be doing, I need to be doing like a real life evangelism. That's what I need to be working on. I've got to make these playlists on my channel where I basically go over like beginners and intermediates and eventually advanced conspiracy theories. And the whole point of that is basically going to be I need to create like mixtapes, I think, for people and just kind of pass along mixtapes of like conspiracy theories. Um, Obviously, only to people who seem real. I wouldn't do it to like people who seem like they're fake. So we're going to see how that goes. I need to really get on that. And hopefully, you know, we're gonna see if I can maybe have a Sabbath. No, not a Sabbath. We're gonna see if I can maybe have a uh, feast of unleavened bread. I Passover. Yeah, we're gonna see if I can hold the Passover with a few humans, which would be unprecedented for me. You know, became a Hebrew Israelite in like 2014. Don't even remember totally when. I think it was somewhere around late summer, early fall. So maybe somewhere around like August ish, give or take a month. And, I missed the Passover 2015. I held it 2016 and 17. Gonna hold it again this year. Uh, Calendar I'm looking at, that I'm trusting the most, is saying it's like at the end of March. So that's when I'll hold it. I guess I'll try to see if I can find some humans to hold it with. But, if I can't, it just is what it is. Wouldn't be unprecedented for me. So, anyway, I think that about wraps this up. Uh, you know, 2 viewers now. Um, yeah, I mean, 2 viewers, no one on the chat. That about wraps it up. I mean, it's late, and I'm about done with this. Yeah, man, I'm done. I'm about done. I'm about done. So, if anyone wants to jump in and say something cool or unique to me, that'd be pretty nice. And if not, and I don't think there is, I think I'm about to stop. My next broadcast, I don't even know what it will be, especially if no one's going to say anything, if no one's going to really talk to me or anything. It's just how it is. I guess that's just how it is. Whatever. But anyway, to anyone who's like, listening to this uh, in the future, especially if you're a real human, you know, hope you're hope you can learn a few things from the scriptures, a few things here and there from my channel. I hope that you can be in Christ and be strong in Christ, because these are the last days. You know, you look outside, it's like at least 95% tear, and that may be an underestimation. It probably is. Probably is more than 95% tear. I really sometimes I just don't know how many humans there are left. Is it 3 in 100? Is it 1 in 100? 1 in 1,000? 1 in 10,000? Anyone's guess. That could all just be true as far as I'm concerned. 1 in 10,000 seems crazy, but who knows? It could be true. Um, I don't think it's quite that bad to think maybe amongst black folk, maybe 3% of them are human. Amongst white folk, maybe less than 1%. I don't know. They seem more cloned out for sure. Who really knows though? I'm sure God knows and Christ knows and Satan knows, but any real human, I don't think really is gonna know. No one has anything to say. My next live broadcast might be about the red pill and things like that. Relationship type things and stuff relating to like maybe quote unquote MGTOW and the TFL and all that kind of stuff. We'll see. We'll see, man. And this crappy camera. But yeah, that's no one has anything to say. I think I'm pretty much done here. I'm gonna see if I can maybe make the camera a little bit better in the future. Cameraman. See if it's just gonna be this bad. No, it just might just be this bad. Man, I think I'm done here. This is probably as good as it's gonna get. Whatever, man. But anyway, peace out, guys. Love you, and remember to stay in Christ, because I don't. I kind of hope we have at least a year and a half or so left before things start getting really crazy. Because I know I'm got a lot of things I need to work on too. So love you guys, and peace out. See you guys later. Lord willing.